Does your rhythm need improvement? Do you find yourself just wanting to play better? Well, now you can with Metronome.
Thanks, Metronome.
A metronome game is a means of hearing the metronome in a slightly different way than what you would normally do if you're just setting the click to beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here are a few ways of doing that.
So for these examples, we're going to be using probably the greatest bass line written in the past 30 years, John Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. And we're going to be playing it a little bit under tempo at 80 beats per minute, and we're going to count out all the subdivisions as we do it. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And the reason why we just did that is because now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the subdivisions so that this metronome is actually clicking on the ands of all the beats rather than the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's now actually going to be on the ands. And the easiest way I know how to get into this sort of rhythm is to start by counting on the and of 4. So here we go. We're going to go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And now we're going to start and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and etc. etc. So the advantage of this is that we're now using the metronome as a way of sort of feeling the beat a little bit differently than if we're just hearing the click on every single downbeat. When we speed it up to tempo, it's going to sound like this. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. Sweet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have that tempo of 120, which is the tempo that the song was recorded at. Prepositional phrase at the end of a sentence. Awesome. Off script here. All right. So 60 beats per minute right here. That's half of 120. And we're going to set this metronome to beats 1 and 3. This is now the same tempo, but the metronome is clicking half as fast. So if we play it here with the counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And so we actually ourselves have to be more responsible for all the subdivisions in between the clicks. And this is a great way of using the metronome to practice your internal rhythm rather than relying upon that click, 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 click for everything. Just like we did with switching the beat around a little bit for the ones and the ands, what we're going to do is now we're going to switch the beat around a little bit so that this is now on beats 2 and 4. And this is a great way of practicing things like jazz, rock, any kind of backbeat-driven music where there's an accent on the snare or the hi-hat on beats 2 and 4. So here we go. We're going to start by counting on 4. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that click is a great sort of fill-in for the snare. Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have that again. 60 divided by 2 equals 30. Yay, math, musicians. And now, since we divided by 2 again, this is now clicking once every measure. Ooh. So we really have to be responsible for all of those subdivisions. So here we go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. So you notice that I was a little bit late on some of them. This is a great method for sort of laying bare the inaccuracies in your internal rhythm because you really can't hide from it the same way that you can hide from them when the metronome is on every beat. So anyway, let's flip the beat around like we did with 2 and 4 and the ones and the ands. Now let's say that the click is, I don't know, beat 2, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and 4 and... Sweet. So now let's do a Victor Wootenism, which is to set the metronome to the and before beat 1. So and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1. Sweet. So you can keep having this tempo, and it keeps, of course, getting more and more difficult. 30 divided by 2 equals 15. All right, we're getting better at this math thing. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Awesome. I did it. Yay, guys. Woohoo. So on some of these metronomes, what you can use, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a little bit of a line that's going back and forth as a visualization for what the beat is supposed to be. And on a lot of metronomes, this visualization can help and it can also hurt. The reason why it can help is because some people learn a little bit better from the visual stimulation and pairing that with the audio stimulation of the click. The reason why it can hurt is because a lot of the times when you use that visualization, you're actually reacting to the beat rather than feeling it. This has a lot to do with how classical musicians react to a conductor's baton versus how jazz, rock, and pop musicians might internalize the beat. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this subject later, but I just wanted to sort of get that idea in your guys' brains. All right.
Another fun thing that you can do with a metronome is record yourself playing quarter notes in Logic or GarageBand or any other digital audio workstation so that you can see whether or not you're playing ahead or behind the beat. It can be really illuminating. This has been Adam Neely's Bass Lessons. Stay tuned for more awesome lessons on metronomes, rhythm, etc., etc. Please comment and subscribe. And as always, bass.